Today we are going to study one of the most important political ideologies in Unit 1 of UGC NET Political Science, conservatism. In the syllabus, conservatism appears along with liberalism, socialism, Marxism, feminism, ecologism, multiculturalism, and postmodernism. So it is a core political tradition that you must understand conceptually, not just memorize. Now, whenever students hear the word conservatism, they usually think it simply means opposing change. But that is only a very basic understanding. In political theory, conservatism is not just blind opposition to change. It is an ideology that says society is complex, institutions are time-tested, human beings are imperfect, and therefore political change should be slow, cautious, and rooted in experience. Let us begin with the origin.
The term conservatism was first used by François-René de Chateaubriand in 1818 during the Bourbon Restoration, mainly to counter the momentum created by the French Revolution. The ideology developed in Europe in the 19th century as a response to modern ideologies like liberalism and socialism. Liberalism was talking about liberty and individual rights. Socialism was talking about equality and social transformation. But conservatism asked a different question. If we destroy old institutions too quickly, what will happen to social order? So, students, remember this line. Conservatism arose as a reaction to the French Revolution and to rapid political, social, and economic change. It defended tradition, authority, order, religion, property, and established institutions. It challenged the revolutionary slogan of liberty, equality, and fraternity, because conservatives believed that unlimited liberty can create disorder, forced equality can destroy natural social bonds, and revolutionary fraternity can become violent. Now let us define conservatism in exam language. Conservatism is a political ideology that seeks to preserve established institutions, customs, and traditions, and supports gradual change rather than radical revolution. It believes that society is not a machine that can be redesigned overnight. Society is more like a living organism that grows slowly over time. So, when you explain conservatism, do not say only it is against change. Say this instead. Conservatism is against reckless change, not all change. This is very important. Edmund Burke, the most important conservative thinker, believed in a pragmatic willingness to change in order to conserve. That means if small reforms are necessary to save the larger social order, then conservatives may accept those reforms. Now we move to the core themes. The first and most important theme is tradition. For conservatives, tradition is not just old habit. Tradition is the accumulated wisdom of generations. Conservatives believe that institutions, customs, and practices that have survived for a long time must have some value. They have been tested by time. Therefore, they should not be destroyed simply because a new generation thinks it is more rational than the past. Burke described society as a partnership between those who are living, those who are dead, and those who are yet to be born. This is a beautiful conservative idea. It means society is not only made by the present generation. We inherit institutions from the past, we use them in the present, and we pass them to future generations. So tradition gives identity, continuity, and stability. Students, here you can give a simple example. Family, marriage, religion, local community, constitution, courts, parliament. These institutions are not perfect, but they carry historical experience. Conservatives say, reform them carefully, but do not destroy them blindly. The second theme is human imperfection. O'Sullivan described conservatism as a philosophy of human imperfection. This means conservatives do not have an overly optimistic view of human nature. They believe human beings are not perfectly rational, not perfectly moral, and not always capable of using freedom responsibly. This idea is connected to a Hobbesian view of human nature. Hobbes believed that without authority and order, human life can become insecure and violent. Conservatives also believe that because humans are imperfect, society needs law, authority, discipline, moral values, and institutions. Now compare this with liberalism. Liberalism says human beings are rational and can make choices for themselves. Conservatism says yes, but be careful. Human beings are also emotional, selfish, fearful, and sometimes irrational. Therefore, radical revolution may create more suffering than happiness. This is why conservatives like Michael Oakeshott warn us that in politics, the cure should not be worse than the disease. In simple words, if you try to solve one problem through reckless revolution, you may create 10 new problems. The third theme is organic society. Conservatives believe society is not just a collection of isolated individuals. Society is an organic whole. Just like the human body has different organs performing different functions, society has different institutions and groups: family, school, religion, community, state, profession, and nation. According to conservatism, individuals are shaped by these social groups. We do not exist outside society. A child learns language, morality, duty, and identity from family and community. Therefore, conservatism criticizes extreme individualism. Here, students, write this point clearly. For conservatives, freedom means doing one's duty. This sounds very different from liberalism. Liberalism often defines freedom as individual choice. Conservatism defines freedom as responsible conduct within society, a society where everyone talks only about rights but no one accepts duty becomes rootless and atomistic. Duty and obligation hold society together. The fourth theme is hierarchy and authority. Conservatives believe that society is naturally hierarchical. People differ in talent, role, experience, responsibility, and social position. Therefore, complete social equality is neither possible nor desirable. This does not mean conservatives necessarily support cruelty or oppression. Rather, they believe that hierarchy is part of an organic society. Authority is also very important. For conservatives, authority is not always negative. Authority can guide, protect, and discipline society. For example, parents exercise authority over children, teachers over students, judges over legal disputes, and the state over public order. Burke argued that liberty cannot exist without order and virtue. So for conservatives, liberty and order are not enemies. True liberty requires social order. Without order, liberty becomes chaos. The fifth theme is property. Conservatives support property because property gives security. A person who owns property has a stake in social order. Property encourages responsibility, respect for law, continuity, and stability. It also connects individuals with family and future generations. But remember, conservative support for property is different from pure capitalist greed. For traditional conservatives, property is linked with duty. If you own land, wealth, or resources, you also have responsibility towards society. So property is not only an economic concept, it is also a moral and social institution. Now let us understand the major types of conservatism. First is authoritarian conservatism. This supports rule from above and often defends monarchy, church, and strong authority. Joseph de Maistre is the key name here. He criticized the French Revolution and wanted to restore monarchy and religious authority. His famous idea is connected with throne and altar, meaning monarchy and church. Second is traditional conservatism, also called classical conservatism. It emphasizes customs, conventions, religion, inherited institutions, and social order. Michael Oakeshott is one of the important thinkers here. He said the conservative disposition is to prefer the familiar to the unknown, the tried to the untried, the actual to the possible. This is a very important UGC NET line. Third is paternalistic conservatism. Paternalism means acting in a fatherly manner. Here, authority is exercised for the benefit of people. The state may intervene to protect people from harm or provide basic welfare. So paternalistic conservatism is not purely anti-welfare. Fourth is liberal conservatism and the new right. This is a combination of conservative social values and liberal economic ideas. In economics, it supports free market, limited welfare, and less government control. But in social life, it supports order, discipline, authority, and strong law enforcement. The new right combines classical liberal economics with traditional conservative social philosophy. Fifth is neoconservatism. It originated mainly in the USA in the 1970s. Neoconservatives argue that the crisis of modern society comes from the decline of religion, family, discipline, and moral culture. Irving Kristol is known as the godfather of neoconservatism. Other names include Francis Fukuyama and Nathan Glazer. Now we revise the important thinkers. First, Joseph de Maistre. He represents authoritarian conservatism. He defended monarchy, church authority, and the value of throne and altar. Second, Edmund Burke. He is the most important thinker of conservatism. He is called the father of modern conservatism and Anglo-American conservatism. His famous book is Reflections on the Revolution in France, published in 1790. Burke opposed the abstract rights of man promoted by the French Revolution and argued that political wisdom comes from history, experience, and tradition. Sabine also says that Burke is rightly regarded as the founder of self-conscious political conservatism. Sabine highlights Burke's respect for established institutions, religion, property, continuity, custom, and social complexity. So students, if you remember only one thinker from conservatism, remember Burke. Third, Michael Oakeshott. He rejected excessive rationalism in politics and defended established customs. His important books are Rationalism in Politics and On Human Conduct. Fourth, Friedrich von Hayek. Hayek is important for liberal conservatism and the new right. He defended individualism and market order and criticized socialism. His important works are The Road to Serfdom, The Constitution of Liberty, and Law, Legislation, and Liberty. Fifth, Irving Kristol. He is linked with neoconservatism, criticism of welfarism, and criticism of counterculture. His books include Two Cheers for Capitalism and Reflections of a Neoconservative. Students, now let us conclude the topic. Conservatism began as a reaction to the French Revolution and rapid modern change. It does not blindly oppose all change, but it opposes reckless and revolutionary change. Its main values are tradition, human imperfection, organic society, duty, hierarchy, authority, and property. Remember the types: authoritarian conservatism, traditional conservatism, paternalistic conservatism, liberal conservatism, or new right, and neoconservatism. And remember the thinker mapping. Joseph de Maistre means authoritarian conservatism and throne and altar. Edmund Burke means modern conservatism, tradition and change in order to conserve. Oakeshott means prefer the familiar to the unknown. Hayek means market order and criticism of socialism. Irving Kristol means neoconservatism. So for UGC NET, conservatism should be understood as a theory of order, continuity, and cautious change. That is the complete essence of this topic.